and it's something that has been on my mind too. Most times we end up paying thousands, millions of naira for this, almost the same level of education that the public school um, students receive. So why don't we, since the public school is supposed to be the bedrock of our economy, why don't we work on raising the standard of the education of the public school to such that it competes with the private schools, and then people would say, oh, why do I have to pay ₦1 million for good education when I can get good education almost for free
And it
or
used to be
for
that
free?
way.
Yeah. So I'm like, we need to work on the bedrock of our economy, which is like the public schools. I actually looked at the structure of education in Denmark, and they invest a lot into the public schools. In fact, what I read, 5 in 6 students, that's like how many percent? I can't think about it now, but 5 in 6 students actually go attend public school in their elementary and lower secondary school level. So most students go to public schools. They have free education, they have quality education. We see that they are taught both in English and in their native language. So they have English, they have native language, so they are well rounded. And at the end of everything, they could either choose after their lower education, which is like our junior secondary school back home, they can either choose to go the vocational route. So I want to go into, let's say, engineering or carpentry or woodwork, and I go to learn exactly what I want to do. Or they can decide to go into general college or university education, where they have like a more rounded studies, even though they will study a course. But most times when we study a particular course, we do like general studies, we do courses from other departments just to make us well rounded. But when you want to do, like, I want to become a software developer, I know I go to like a coding school or something where that is all I am doing. I'm just working on projects and I just build my skill. I think that we need like more of that in Nigeria.
Like I
But
said,
the question I have now is, okay, we want to help out. We want to probably adopt some of these public schools and privatize them and invest in them, invest in the education of those children. But a friend just raised the issue that someone once told her that he and his friends wanted to do that same thing. And the government says, oh no, you can't do that. Or like
okay.
someone just talked about, you have to go through one process or the other.
So let me tell you the
How do
solution to
we
that.
help?
Let me tell you the quick solution to that right now. So, and that's one of the things like we want to achieve with Nigeria Youth in Diaspora Engagement Forum. So, let me, guys, please, I would like you guys to actually listen to this. You guys, if you guys are following the news in Nigeria, of recent they passed the Not Too Young to Run bill. How do you think that happened? Not Too Young to Run bill has been ongoing for a while now. Ever since I was small, they've been like, oh, a young person should be able to contest. Even though the Not Too Young to Run bill, I would categorically say that is a scam. But eventually they signed it, right? So
Mm-hmm.
people have been talking about like, okay, young people should be able to run for office, blah blah blah. But eventually, even though we thought it wouldn't be possible, these guys will not pass the law, they will not sign the bill, but they eventually did it. Do you know why? And do you know how? That was because a lot of young people that are actually interested in running for these offices, they gathered themselves together, they signed a petition, they went to the National Assembly, they followed it up, and it went well. For those of you that were present at the launching of NIDEF at the Nigeria Permanent Mission House, Feladro talked about something. He said, the people in the government, they know that we, the citizens, we have more power, but they are trying everything as possible to make sure we don't see that power. And you know that power? We are the people. We are the cabal. There's no cabal anywhere. If we all come together and say this is what we want, we will make it happen forever. We will definitely make it happen. So if just imagine if we have like 1 million Nigerians in the diaspora who are currently with us, and we all sign this, we have representatives that move the whole movement. We actually break the internet. We make this live, everything, and we've been and we're talking about this. The government would have no objection to whatever we're trying to say. So we want to help our country and telling us we can't do it. I don't understand. I really, really don't understand. 1 million
Yeah.
Nigerian youth in the diaspora are saying, okay, federal government of Nigeria, we want to adopt school, so something. We have the fund, we have the money, we have the everything. I don't understand. Why won't they let us do it? They said they can't do it, right? They said it's not possible. They said it can't be done. We have
It
1 million
reminds
people
me.
with $1 million, and you are telling me we can't do it. As in, I don't understand.
It reminds me of what Jesus said about the Pharisees. They said that they stand in the way. They don't want to enter, but they're not allowing those that want to enter to enter. That's just like the situation of what's happening. So the government is not going to help our situation. But those of us that want to help our situation, is like they're kind of standing in the way. So we need that publicity as well, just like you said. So as much as we are gathering, rallying people up to help, to invest, to contribute to this, we also need to also take a stand. We need to align ourselves with people who can say we need an entrance into the educational system, and we're not going to back down until we get an entrance to the educational system.
True.
And about the whole teacher training thing too, we need people that are very, very skilled. Like people have already said a lot of things on my mind. Even I have a lot of passion about the university education, but sometimes I think about it. What's the point of going to that level when at the elementary level and the secondary level, um, there is a bad foundation already? We really can't change the way students think at that level if we can't start from the basic level. So we help them develop their critical thinking, their independent thinking, their ability to work in teams, ability to work on projects, ability to develop their own skills and all that right from the elementary level. So I think that this is something we can do. We can all come together and
Okay, Dara, please. Can you also talk about the charter school?
yes, the charter schools is the it's kind of this is the same thing in America, in the United States of America. So we have public schools that are also being that are under a charter that are owned by like private how like with them authorizers. So there's a privatization still going on. They are not totally under the government's umbrella. So the government is kind of supporting them with some funds. We also have donations from other institutions, but they are independent of the government. So in that situation, the teachers of the classrooms, they have the freedom to actually design their own curriculum to fit the students. So all these things we are talking about, like we can't really start changing curriculum or training the teachers or feeding the students if we don't have access to the public school system yet. And how do we have access? Is this whole charter thing, the whole privatization thing, saying, okay, we have funds, we have the people, we have the resources, we have people that are passionate. We want you to lease out, we want to adopt some of this public school system. Let us come in and let us do what we can to make things better.
Okay, all right,
Yeah.
that makes sense. So because of time, Dara would have to cut you off now because we still have a lot of things to talk.
You sensitize them to do that.
All right, that makes a lot of sense.
That did.
Thank you so much, Dara. So I would like you to do is I'll add it to like the WhatsApp group.
Okay.
2 hours. Okay, at first I thought it was me.
So you would be the last guy to talk about.
To actually solve the problem I feel is at hand with it. I think a big thing that people don't really pay attention to is from the home itself, right? Like I feel a lot of our parents, they want us to do certain things in school. They tell us, oh, you're going to college, you're going to university, we want you to do medicine, we want you to do accounting, we want you to do this, we want you to do that. But then for the most part, the type of passion we have, a lot of us, the passion we have is completely different from what our parents want us to do. And at the end of the day, as Africans, especially Nigerians, they say you have to do what your parents, in a way, we want to satisfy our parents. Me, for instance, I wasn't in that situation because my parents were a little understanding. For some reason, because I was still in that type of my Nigerian atmosphere, I wanted to do something specific in school. I did my bachelor's in economics. I did my master's in economics. What am I doing now? Right now, doing nothing related to economics. After school, I taught myself how to code because I found out I love creating stuff. I love computers. I love making teams work. I love data. I wanted to do that. And before you knew what was going on, I'm, I'm doing data now. And my master's in economics is as useless as not going to school at all. Like no one checks like, oh, you have a master's in economics or you have a bachelor's in economics. Everything I taught, it was self-taught myself. And that leads to my point about independence itself. I think we have to build a level of independence for ourselves. Like we don't necessarily have to depend on schools. Like if we go to school, it's fine to have the degree, but it's in our own path to actually learn a lot of things ourselves. A lot of things I learned was from YouTube. Like even when I go for job interviews, they ask me, "You did economics. How come you understand this much about coding? How come?" I tell them I never did these things in school, but because the passion was there, and I never had someone behind me telling me, "Oh, if you're not doing finance, if you're not doing economics, I'm going to disown you." And now I'm making probably triple more than what I should be making even as an economist because I found so much passion in it. And lastly, the point I want to talk about is the relationship between organizations. I mean, and, and organizations that can employ you and institutions themselves. Here in the United States, before I graduated college, right, our senior year, we had events where companies would come to the school, recruiters would come to the school to look for really smart students. The ones that even, it doesn't even depend on your PA, as long as they interview you and you're fit for that role. Before you finish school, you can probably get a job. In Nigeria, it's not like that. If your father does not know someone somewhere that knows this person, there are a lot of
You
positions.
need to get there.
Yes, and that big loophole. I can say my dad does not know any. My dad is practically nobody. And here, I mean, I'm opportune right now. I just got an opportunity with Microsoft. If I was in Nigeria, I can never, ever imagine myself being there. And that's one thing I would, one of the speakers said the same thing. I think coming here is one of the best things that ever happened to me. Because I can't imagine, I have a lot of students that people doing way better than me, but they don't have opportunities to this thing. But professional organizations to help people so they can actually hire bright men, and that also helps in improving our industries itself and growth in our economy. I think
Okay.
those are the three major points I'm going to raise about education.
Thank you for that, Fatu. But my talk on this is okay. So people have talked about internet being a problem, funding of education being a problem, selling our national assets, selling selling our schools to make things work. In as much as that sounds funny, but to me, I don't know, but I'm actually in support of that, right? So selling this stuff and making things work. And Stella talk about we doing stuff that would not tie our hands down. Like we can be like, okay, we know like education is bad. What if we create feeding in education and be like people should feed and blah blah blah. I mean, if we provide feeding for the students in school, we probably make them stay in school and stuff like that. So we want to engage, we want to do stuff, we want to revitalize the Nigerian education system. So among all these options, teacher training, building internet access, investing in education and co. What is the way forward? How do you think we can actually engage? What do you think we can actually do? What do you think the Nigerians in the diaspora will be happy to do as one body to actually revitalize the Nigerian education sector? We don't want to be greedy. We've enjoyed the system here, right? Like you said, that if you are not here, you wouldn't be what you are right now. You are grateful to this.
Yeah.
But mind you, there are a lot of people in Nigeria listening to this, and you telling them that you coming here is the best thing that has happened to you. They will be like, man, shame me, why can't I just be like that? But we don't want the situation to be like that, right?
Sure.
So how can we
Yeah.
make the people in Nigeria also be like someone like you, right?
Yes.
So
Okay. Okay. That's actually a very good question. I remembered earlier here, and my plan was actually go to Nigeria and specifically I wanted to start from Osun State, and I wanted to create link up with community people that were like affiliated with community leaders, so I can look for youths and bright minds that are actually interested in my own part. I'm just trying to explain my own part, how I can contribute, and find a way to see how I can teach few people data science, like making them understand you can be in college in your second year. You don't necessarily even need to have a degree to actually do data science. And
Yep.
Like,
That's
yeah.
also.
Over here, for instance, I have Indians that work with me. These guys come all the way from India with work authorization in the United States. They make ×2 of what we make. We have a degree. They don't even have a degree. What they did is they sat down in their house. They learn how to code. They understand computers. They know what they do. They come here. They get jobs here. And they take over jobs with people that have ×2 student loan over here. So going back to Nigeria for me is like, we don't necessarily have to depend on the government.